Hey folks, Steve here with another World in Flames video. We're going to be continuing our May-June turn here. Realize that we're getting, multiple videos in one game turn and we're spanning months. I'm hoping to leverage some time here to keep it going and playing as much as it is a challenge for me to get to the table to play the game. So we're going to go to the Axis Impulse. It's still a pretty good ways before this turn is going to end, so there's still plenty of time to be making progress as the Axis, but the battle for France is kind of tough going. Italy's enjoying a really great string of luck, one that is a bit mitigated by the fact that the French fleet has come out to defend the Western Mediterranean. What's really important about that is that because of the preponderance of force here in the Western Med, it makes it very difficult for me to send my Italian Marine unit, which would be transported by transports. I don't have any of the amps done yet, amphibious landing. I would be targeting maybe trying to take Tunis or Algeria via one mechanism or another, but unfortunately, I just can't seem to get there because of this fleet. So if I could knock that fleet out, or at least get the Italian Navy out there, then I could open up the sea area for amphibious invasions, and we just can't do it, not this turn, because now we have the majority of the Italian fleet in the Eastern Med causing trouble for the Commonwealth. What would be really nice is if we could get Malta out of supply and maybe take that at some point, but we really just don't have the force necessary to do that. I mean, that's just sort of where we're stuck right now. And the Italians are not getting much in the way of reinforcements for the next couple of turns. So I think what we're going to end up doing is, if I take a look at the activity limits, I might have Italy do a combined, just so that we have the ability to put more pressure on Egypt. I think that's kind of the strategy right now, because now that the French and the Italians are at war, basically Italy's fully in the war, I can either try to push down here, which the Alps just make it very difficult. I feel like it makes more sense right now to have the Italians focus on Egypt and just completely shut the east part of the map down in that way. And then once they've done that, we can focus more on maintaining a defensive perimeter facing westward. We just want to completely shut down the east, and I think we have the ability to do that. We only get one naval move with a combined, but I think what I want to try to do is start applying pressure and start moving forward into Egypt. So right now, the Commonwealth has a armored HQ as well as a strong infantry, British infantry, and then an Indian infantry, totaling 14 combat factors. That's going to be tough to beat, and so what I'm going to have to be reliant on is just disrupting their ability to operate in the theater as much as possible. So that means clearing these guys, maybe capturing some of the ports in the area, and just making it more difficult for the Commonwealth to maintain supply. So it's likely going to mean that the Italians are going to focus on transporting units in and around the areas of concern around here. I think that's what we're going to end up doing as we get going. So yeah, I think we'll try that. So Italy's going to do a combined. I think right now Germany is likely going to focus on a land move and do what they can to maintain their drive in France. So that's going to take us just very quickly to our naval movement, which really only Italy is going to do. I really get one naval move, so I need to decide what I want to do. Really, what it comes down to, and initiating a naval combat does not count as a naval move, I don't believe, is I have the Marine units there, and then I have a mechanized unit, and I have two transports there. Now I can send both transports, and I could send them into the same port, but then I'm going to have some stacking problems. It looks like so. Because I only have the one, I could basically choose, like, okay, do I want to try to do an amphibious invasion somewhere, or do I want to transport that mechanized unit? The mechanized unit is not going to trump the WAVL armored core HQ in Egypt, but it would kind of help in general down there. Really what I should probably do is get the Italian armored HQ down there, but he's kind of far and out of the way, so we're not going to be able to do that immediately. What I might try to do is put the UK in a position where we try to invade Port Said and shut down the Suez Canal, but then we're going to be reliant on the Marine unit, if it successfully lands and takes it, that they can hold out for reinforcements, which we would eventually get there, but we got to get these guys moving down the coast first, so that we have guys on the coast, guys coming from the side there, and basically just forcing a situation where Egypt will fall. Once we do that, then we could potentially send Italian units back into the transfer box and wreak havoc on the Commonwealth down there, and basically, again, just completely shut down their ability to get resources, and then they would be stuck relying on South American and North American resources getting to the UK, which already the UK production has been heavily dampered by the Italian mischief down here. So kind of need to decide what I want to do. I think the Marine invasion can wait. What we probably want to do is start getting some guys down here to help support the move down the coast. So I think that's what we'll end up doing. The Italians only get 3 naval moves, and so we won't be able to move like everything that we might want to move down here, but that would be a start. If we stick to the coast, we'll be able to stay in supply, basically. The only trouble is I don't think we can even go 1 hex inland at all, but I'll have to see. Yeah. Yeah, and an HQ tracing a railway supply path overseas, not via a port, may only supply a number of units up to its reorg value. And so if we look at the HQ here, it's only 3, so we really would be relying, yeah, I guess we could supply, Okay, I think what we could do, I gotta look at this. What I'm trying to figure out is if I keep my HQ on the coast, I think I can have a couple units off the coast and that they can trace supply. Trace a basic supply path overseas. Must be in a coastal hex, or trace the path via a port. A secondary supply source may only trace a basic supply path overseas via a port. Yeah, I'll have to look at this. Let me come back. Okay, yeah, I mean, there's an example in the rulebook that illustrates this, that, yeah, your units on the coast will have supply, and then an HQ that is on a coast can provide supply around it, basically. So with the existing HQ that's already there, as long as we have some units on the coast and no more than 3 off the coast, then we should be able to maintain our supply, assuming we stay in control or maintain our surface vessel presence in the Eastern Med. So I think we're good to be able to start progressing east. So what the Italians are going to do is they are going to transport a mechanized unit into Bardia. So now we've got a nice little set of guys there. And I'm just probably, let's see, and then we have naval combat. And I think the only one that we're really able to make use of at the moment is the Eastern Med. I think that's the only one for the Italians that are worth doing. And they will go ahead and try to roll dice to see. So we're going to do search rolls for both sides. Gosh, okay. The Axis got a 1 and the Allies got a 6. So very bad. Basically, the Axis, the Italians have 10 surprise points, 4 for being in the highest box that they've got guys in, plus 6 for the die roll of the Allies is 10. Let's see, I guess if they target the 1 and the 0 box, they get to pick. It's going to be basically like 2. Let me think about this. Yeah, like 2. The worst fight being in the 1 box plus the 1 that the Axis die rolled is 2. So 10 minus 2 is 8. 8 surprise points to inflict with the Commonwealth units, and they could include everything here. So let me go off camera and just figure out what what they're going to do with these surprise points in the naval combat. Okay, so the end result, they didn't get destroyed, even though it looks like they did. Basically, the Italians were able to use their surprise points to shift the Commonwealth basically down to nothing, and then they shifted their own combat factors up, and basically were able to inflict damages on the convoys and the warspites. While they didn't get sunk, they were basically damaged and forced into the repair pool, and basically cleared off the board, which now makes definitely causes a problem for the Commonwealth. So their presence in the Eastern Med is cut off. Their ability to get resources from that area is done, basically, and we're good there. Next is an opportunity for opponents' naval combat, and I don't think that the Allies are going to try in Cape St. Vincent, because what's going to happen is they're going to try to search, and even if they succeed, basically the Italians have to decide would they even commit their subs to the attempt. I think I have to double check on some of that, but I believe that to be the case. Yeah. Yeah, I don't think they can, because what's going to happen is the Italian subs are just going to not engage. They're going to stay uncommitted, and they won't be able to find the subs, basically, based on that. At least I believe that to be how the committing of subs works. So we'll move on from there to we're going to start getting into the ground stuff. So I'm going to just take care of the Mediterranean Italian stuff before we do anything with Germany, just to make it easy so we get the Italian stuff out of the way. I'm not going to do anything on the Western Front with the Italians. Basically, all of their effort is going to be focused down here in Egypt, which is going to make this stuff really easy. So what we're going to do is we get 3 land moves, basically, and what I'm going to do is going to have basically do 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. So then that means if they go 1, 2, 3. Ooh. Let's do that. I think that's what I want to do. Just so they can't, 1, 2, 3, 4. They wouldn't be able to get on the HQ, and we want to start to move the HQ up, but we still have an infantry back here that we would have to start moving. So that's just to sort of get us in place. And then we probably do have some air missions, which would be again on a combined, and on a combined Italy has 3 air missions, so we could simply do moving these guys over here for position purposes, and I can move somebody from I don't want to do that. I shouldn't need to do that. Okay. So yeah, I think we're just going to start moving down the coast, entering Egypt. The Italian Navy is kind of primed to be able to provide shore bombardment this turn. They still have their sort of main battleship here that can provide up to 4 shore bombardment factors, which we would want to use in some combat to come, very likely. So far, so good there. Yeah, I think we're doing okay there. So I think that does it for Italy. Nothing else that really comes to mind is something we want to bother with. So we can turn our attention over to Germany next. Okay, so I think what we're going to do is we're going to start off with some ground strikes as the axis. And I'm trying to figure out what I want to do here. I think some of the challenge is that we need to kind of push. We need to even out the line a little bit up here. We need to push west. We're close. We're close to Paris, but we kind of need to take some of the other hexes just to kind of get some breathing room here and provide the opportunities for reserve. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to do some ground strikes. And the first thing I'm going to try to do here is we're going to try to bomb the Commonwealth up here. Or, you know what? We're going to try to bomb the Commonwealth over here. And we're going to try to bomb the French here. So there's going to be our 4 air missions. And what you got to remember, and this is an easy thing to forget in the rules, that ground support missions, which are going to support your combats, don't count as against your air mission limit. So right now it's going to be all about trying to bomb the BEF in the north and Lille there, so that if we're able to, if we can get decent odds attack, it's going to be basically 2-to-1 odds at best anywhere. But assuming we're able to do that, we can attack one or both hexes and potentially move our line up quite a bit and potentially put additional pressure on the Commonwealth, because they're getting wall-upped, and help our overall ability to project power in the French backfield, basically. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to take Paris by the end of this turn. I think it's not going to happen, just because we're going to run out of steam before it does, but hopefully it won't be too late by the time it happens. Now, unfortunately, the Commonwealth is out of air that is within intercept range. They have a Spitfire in London, but these really only in range to protect the Gort HQ, or if he had flown Cap. But basically, the situation for the British was if they flew Cap, I would have just ground struck their HQ if they flew Cap to the BEF and further north. So kind of just knowing that Cap didn't seem useful, and so those are the kind of situation we're getting. For the French defense, though, they do have a fighter that they are going to fly in to do an interception, and so we'll see how this goes. Yeah, I think that's what we'll do. So what we'll have is two different ground strike attempts, and you know what? Yeah, I guess I should have. I'm going to change one of these up. I'm going to have a slightly better unit go instead, and I'll roll the dice here for the BEF. So need 3 or less. Green die is bottom, red die is top. The die is top, so the Commonwealth mechanized unit is flipped. And then the second plane, 1s and 2s are going to be needed. And the same. And, okay, yeah. The BEF is flipped. Okay, I got lucky. I rolled 2s. Alright. Well, that's really it for these guys. And what I'll do is I'll return them. Starting to get congested over here. Return them like so. So the BEF is currently flipped, which puts them in major danger of being attacked and wiped out. And then we have an air combat here that we're going to arrange like so. So basically we have 2 bombers with no fighter escort. Our best bomber, our Stuka, is in the back, is the last fighter or bomber. And then our better, our worst bomber, but actually has a better air-to-air rating, is there in front. And there's the intercepting French unit. So we'll roll for the French. They got an 8 on a 0. Is defender aborts own front fighter or bomber. Well, I guess we're going to abort this guy, and then we'll roll for them as well. So they got a 12. Attacker clears through anyone defending bomber. Well, they don't have any. So if we go for another round, let's see, 2. Okay. All right. So basically, and I'm just gonna roll. Ooh. Okay. 18 on the -2 chart is DX. Okay, this is interesting. All right. So, on the second round, the bomber was aborted, but they shot down the French fighter. So this French fighter is out, is destroyed, but the German bombers fail and basically are going to be knocked back. And gosh, I'm starting to run out of places where I can actually stack stuff. Okay, well, things are getting kind of dicey over here with all the flipped planes. Okay, well, that was a failed ground strike of Lille, but we did shoot down some French fighters, which is important because we need to make up that fighter difference right now. The Germans are a little underhanded when it comes to fighters. I had lost some important fighters before. They're going to get some next turn, but they're feeling the loss of them now. Okay, so then if we get into, let's see, ground strikes are done. Get to rail movement. I don't think there's much to do from a rail movement perspective. Land movement, I'm reasonably confident we're as jam-packed forward as we can. So I think it's just going to come down to some land combats and what we want to do there. I do think, let's see, is there any way to get better odds? No, I think this is the best that we've got. So we would have, let's see, 15 combat factors plus 16 there, so 31 combat factors to 13. So that'd be 2-to-1 odds. I don't think there's anything that can be done to make that situation any better. You know what? It did look like I had some Commonwealth fighters that I should have flown that I missed. That would have been in range. Well, it's too late, I guess. I've already rolled the die, so it doesn't... okay. It's sort of cheating. Well, I missed it. It really is what it is I missed as the Commonwealth, but I don't know. That's a weird thing when you play solo, but we'll proceed. Game's a little axis shifted right now, which is probably a little unfair because I'm making mistakes, but that's what it is. So 31 to 13, again, 2-to-1 odds. There is a mech advantage on the part of the Axis. Is there anything that can be done? Flying in ground support right now to the Commonwealth units there will not help them. It's not enough combat factors to make a difference. It would only get them up to 14, but 31 still beats 28 by 2. So it would be 2-to-1. We probably would use the Blitzkrieg table. And then, let's see, it's a +2 for the flipped units. Blitz combat makes it a +3. I don't believe they're in any sort of special hex. Nope, it's just clear terrain. So yeah, okay. 2-to-1 with a +3 on the Blitz table. If I did 2-to-1 on the Assault with a +2, yeah, that could go badly. So yeah, I think we were going to go ahead and make use of that Blitz table with a +3 to the die roll. So we should get something pretty good. Okay, so... Alright, so we got... we rolled a 2. We got a +3, so that was a 5. And it is a 1 result. So basically, the British are going to lose a motorized unit, and then the German units are going to flip. So it's good that we knocked out a unit, but we've now got flipped units, which are going to be a pain in the butt. And I don't think it was valuable to do any sort of other attacks. 9, 13, 20, 20 to 9. Yeah, I'm not sure it makes sense to... we could knock out units, but then I probably wouldn't want to advance. because then our line would be a little shaky. But we could do it. We could do another blitzkrieg and just see what we get. 14, 21, 8. But I wouldn't have blitzkrieg here, would I? No, I would. Could use the blitz table here. We've got a couple options, so I think we are going to try down here. And it's going to be 2-to-1 odds with a +1. That's dangerous. But as long as we don't roll terribly, and there's no point in me sending in this ground support for the French in an attack on this hex, because it would only add 2 combat factors. So it would go to 8. It would go from 8 to 10. But the combat factors here that are able to attack are 21. So it would still be 2-to-1. There's no point in wasting the ground support there. So 2-to-1, +1 blitz, because there's a mechanized unit in that stack there. So +1. We get a 7, so that is a retreat result. So it's going to force these guys back like so. And then I think what we'll do is we'll have this unit advance, and then everybody flips, unfortunately. At least I believe that to be the case. We didn't roll well enough. Yeah, we didn't roll well enough to keep from flipping, which that's a little dangerous, but I think we can deal with that a little bit. 13 and 9. Yeah, I can't really make anything happen there. But that's 2 hexes on Paris, which honestly could be enough to make a difference. So what I'm going to do now is I'm probably going to flip some HQs so that we can get some units. So 1, 2. Yeah, we're going to flip Ruprecht over here. I think I'm screwing up where some of these units are set up. I apologize if I'm screwing those guys up. And we're going to flip 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we'll flip, let's see, one, 2, got some strong units around here. Okay. I couldn't unflip everything. I still have an HQ that I want to hold on using yet. Alright. It's getting chaotic over here. Okay. I think that's good. I think that's as much as we really can do. And we've created a situation now where on the next Axis impulse, We can potentially attack Paris. Paris has 9 combat factors in it, and we could attack it with, depending on how we choose to move units around, could be 14, 29 to 9. I could probably get a few more factors in there. I could potentially even flip some of those units. And yeah, we could probably get 3-to-1 odds or so and have a pretty decent chance of knocking them out. I'm not entirely sure. It'd be nice to get one more hex, but you can kind of see like the challenge is like we're coming down, and we also need to be able to push out this way just so we can get that 3rd hex next to Paris. Would be nice if we could get it. I just don't know that we're going to be able to, and that's going to be the tricky bit. But if we can get 2 hexes, we got 2 hexes on Paris, that could be enough. Even though we're starting to run low on operational momentum here because our HQs are flipping, our planes are flipping, it's getting kind of rough. I think that'll do it. And the only other thing I would potentially need to do is a rebase, but I'm starting to run out of basing capability for my planes, honestly. So I'm not sure what can be done there other than, maybe I'm going to rebase. I can't do a rebase because that's a mission. So I think that's it. That's done. We're starting to run low. We still got a Stuka that we could use, but I think that's all we got. That's all we can do. And we did our reorgs. So that's it for the Axis. We're going to advance to the Allies. Do a quick sanity check on weather. I believe they're rolling weather right now. And it's fine everywhere that matters for the game. So we're going to kick it back to the Allies, it looks like. What can the Allies do? They just are starting to get walloped a little bit. They're feeling the crunch as the Axis is honing in on them. But the Soviets can still make their play for Romania, so that's maybe what they're going to do. Anyway, I think this video is probably long enough for the moment, so we'll call this a video. I'm spending way too long of my day, of my free time doing a video, but I'm glad I could keep playing it for a little bit. So thanks for watching, guys. Catch you in the next one.